Dating is challenging on its own, and using apps can make it even scarier. In the US, the study from October 2019 revealed that 3 out of 10 adults have tried online dating. However, 45% of those who recently used dating apps said the experience was more frustrating than hopeful. While bad dates can be annoying, some people have faced truly terrifying situations, from robberies to unwanted sexual advances and even murder. Here are the top 10 dating app horror stories. Hi, I'm Alina. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Matthew Herrick found himself at the center of a disturbing revenge scheme orchestrated by an ex-boyfriend he had met on Grindr. Over the course of 5 months, Herrick had 1,100 men show up at his Manhattan workplace and home, believing they were meeting him for sex or drugs. His ex had created fake Grindr profiles using Herrick's photos and personal information, starting in October 2016. These profiles falsely claimed that Herrick was HIV positive and enjoyed violent fantasies, explaining to strangers why he might appear unwelcoming. Despite Herrick's attempts to turn this man away, they often wouldn't take no for an answer. Some even followed him into the bathroom at work, making his life a nightmare. In April 2017, Herrick decided to take legal action against Grindr, accusing the platform of failing to protect him. His lawyers argued that Grindr had a responsibility to intervene, especially after 100 reports were made about the fake profiles, but nothing was done. This raised serious questions about the legal and ethical responsibilities of social platforms when users abuse their services. A Reddit user recently shared a shocking story about her date with a guy she met on OkCupid. Though she initially found him attractive, their dinner conversation was filled with red flags. Things took even worse turn when they went to see a movie. During the trailers, he unexpectedly unzipped his pants and began masturbating right next to her. She was horrified as he casually claimed that everyone does it in the movie theaters. When he later tried to initiate sex, she firmly said no and moved to the other side of the theater to watch the movie in peace. At least she still managed to enjoy the film. Trent John Samuels, a 27-year-old man, didn't handle rejection well. He matched with a woman on Tinder and they chatted for a few weeks, but things took a turn in December 2019 when she removed him from her Snapchat after he sent a photo of himself on a toilet with the caption "poo time." Understandably, she lost interest. During their conversations, she had shared personal photos and an intimate video where she appeared without underwear. After their falling out, Samuels used a screenshot from the video to threaten her on Instagram, hinting that he might share it publicly by telling her to check his Instagram story. Scared that he had already made the content public, the woman went to the police. Samuels was charged with revenge porn, which can lead up to 3 years in prison in Queensland, Australia. In court, he pleaded guilty. Although he avoided jail time, he was fined $2,500 and ordered to pay the victim $1,000 in compensation. eHarmony found that 20% of women had used older photos on their dating profiles to appear younger, while over 40% of men lied about their jobs. But in 2020, dating app users in Maryland encountered a more serious problem: people lying about their gender and intentions. Men were pretending to be women on these apps, only to meet their dates and rob them. Police reported that these criminals would physically assault their victims before stealing wallets, car keys, and phones. In February 2020, Greenbelt police warned people to be cautious about meeting strangers from dating apps. Similar scams happened in other US cities. In Detroit, a man posed as a woman, luring people into withdrawing cash for him from ATMs. In Chicago, a group of 3 men and 1 woman used the same trick to rob victims. It might be a good idea to stay home, or at least do a background check before meeting anyone. Even a background check might not protect you from getting robbed on a date, especially if your date is 31-year-old Shalena Lopez. A man from California met Lopez on a dating app, Meet Me, and they arranged to meet at the Eagle Mountain Casino in Porterville for their first date. While at the casino, Lopez introduced the man to her relative, Mario Garcia, and they also ran into her friend, Cesar Cameron Domingo Jr. At the end of the evening, the man offered to drive Lopez, Garcia, and Domingo home. However, during their drive, Garcia suddenly pulled out a revolver, fired 2 shots, and threatened the man at gunpoint. The trio forced him to drive to an ATM, where they made him withdraw money and hand over his valuables. After dropping them off, the man quickly contacted the Tulare County Police Department. Fortunately, the police were able to recover $400 worth of the stolen items. Dating can be exciting, but for many women, it comes with a real and frightening risk of sexual assault. Kelly Nigel, a Georgia native, experienced this firsthand after meeting a man she thought was charming on a dating app, OkCupid. His name was Zach Anderson, or so she thought. After a week of chatting, Nigel and Anderson decided to meet at a local pub. He seemed like a regular, friendly guy, and the date went well until they turned to his car. That's when Anderson's behavior took a sudden turn. Without warning, he became aggressive, grabbed her thigh and pulled down her pants. Before she could react, he assaulted her. Shaken and horrified, Nigel reported this incident to OkCupid, warning them about the predator on their platform. But when they searched for his profile, it was nowhere to be found. Nigel later learned that Zach Anderson wasn't his real name. He was actually David Richard Hartman, a married father of 3 and a serial rapist who used multiple fake profiles to lure women. 2 years later, Hartman was finally brought to justice, thanks in part to Nigel's courage. In 2014, another woman, 20-year-old Jillian, met Hartman for drinks in Midtown Atlanta. The next thing she knew, she woke up on her apartment doorstep with no keys, no underwear, and painful injuries. She had been drugged and raped. Jillian went to the hospital and reported the assault to the police. Surveillance footage later showed her stumbling out of Hartman's car, clearly disoriented before a security guard helped her into a taxi to get home. Her story, along with testimony from Nigel and 3 other women, helped convict Hartman of rape and aggravated sodomy in 2015. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences by Superior Court Judge Constance Russell, who described him as a predator. Reflecting on her ordeal, Jillian said, "I was on a date with a monster and I had no idea." In November 2017, 24-year-old Sydney Lou from Lincoln, Nebraska, connected with Bailey Boswell on Tinder. After enjoying their first date, they planned to meet again the next day. On November 15th, Sydney shared a Snapchat photo with the caption, "Ready for my date," but that was the last time anyone heard from her. When she didn't show up for work the next day, her disappearance was reported on November 16th. As the investigation unfolded, it was discovered that Bailey Boswell had brought along her 51-year-old boyfriend Aubrey Trail to the second date. A friend of Sydney's who had a picture of Boswell recognized her on Tinder and sent the profile to the police. By then though, Boswell and Trail were already on the run. Strangely, 2 weeks after Sydney went missing, Boswell and Trail posted videos on social media claiming that they were innocent. They expressed sympathy for Sydney's family and accused the police of unfairly targeting them. Tragically, on December 4th, Sydney's dismembered body was found in garbage bags in a field. In June 2018, Boswell and Trail were charged with first-degree murder and improper disposal of human remains. Before their second meeting with Sydney, they had purchased tools from Home Depot to carry out the horrific crime. This heartbreaking case reminds us that even after a promising first date, danger can still be lurking. Sometimes a simple date can turn into a tragedy. And that's exactly what happened to 27-year-old Adam Hillary, a father from Florida. In August 2016, Adam met 18-year-old Haley Bustos on the Plenty of Fish dating site, and they went on their first date bowling together. After the date, Haley said she wanted to see him again. But when she returned to Adam's house, she brought 3 men with her. The group robbed Adam, stealing his TV, Xbox, alcohol, jewelry, and iPhone. Sadly, despite Adam not fighting back and even begging for his life, telling them he had a 5-year-old daughter, they shot him in the head. The police later arrested Andre Warner, Gary Gray, and Joshua Ellington for conspiracy to commit robbery with a firearm, and first-degree murder. In 2020, a jury found Andre Warner guilty of killing Adam execution style. It also came out that the man had paid Haley $50 to set up the robbery, though she claimed she didn't know they would kill him. This tragic story reminds us that it's important to be cautious, especially when meeting someone new. After losing her husband, Mary Kay Beckman didn't expect her life to be in danger when she decided to try dating again. She joined Match.com and was matched with Wade Ridley in September 2010. They dated for about 10 days before Beckman ended the relationship, but Ridley became furious and created a kill list. 3 months later, Ridley tracked her down and brutally attacked her. He stabbed her 10 times with a butcher knife until the knife broke. Then he stomped it on her head, thinking she was dead. A neighbor alerted the authorities and Beckman was rushed to the hospital, where she underwent multiple head surgeries and spent months recovering. Afterward, Ridley met another woman, Ann Simonson, on the same dating site and tragically killed her with a machete. He was eventually arrested by Las Vegas police for Simonson's murder. During his confession, Ridley revealed his kill list. He was charged with attempted murder and robbery and sentenced to 28 to 70 years in prison. However, in May 2012, while in prison, Ridley took his own life. Though Beckman survived the horrific attack, the trauma continues to haunt her. She vowed never to use a dating app again and sued Match.com for $10 million. In London, a police officer named Gordon Semple met a 51-year-old man, Stefano Brizzi, on a dating app, Grindr. They arranged to meet at Brizzi's apartment, where Brizzi strangled Semple to death. Inspired by the TV show Breaking Bad, Brizzi attempted to get rid of Semple's body by using acid in a bathtub. Sadly, he was high on crystal meth and couldn't remember much of what happened. Prosecutors revealed that he even tried to eat some of Semple's flesh, which is just horrifying. When the police discovered Semple's remains, they found parts of his body in an oven, inside a tea strainer, and on chopsticks, with Brizzi's bite marks on one of his ribs. In 2016, Brizzi was sentenced to life in prison for his crimes. However, just 2 months into his sentence, he took his own life. Thank you for watching, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!